Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I know it's been a while, but there's been a lot going on, and I really have just been in school, just getting after it. I am now in spring break, so I decided I really should sit down and make a video for you guys. So I'm here today, and today I'm going to be talking about pharmacology and adult health. I just got done taking adult health, so I'm going to be talking about that. And I decided I wanted to combine both classes into one video rather than making separate videos, because I'm lazy and I don't want to make multiple videos. It'll just be very simple for me to talk about both in one video, even though they're separate classes and I took them in separate sessions. I'm just gonna combine them in one video. Before we get started though, I wanted to talk to you guys. I have an affiliate link for Picmonic. I have used Picmonic in the past, and if you go into the description box, if you guys are interested in using Picmonic, you guys can use the link and you guys can get 20% off starting off with Picmonic. So if you guys are interested, if you want to try it out, use the link in the description box so you guys can get that deal. So now on with the video. So I took pharmacology at the beginning of the year. I took pharmacology like in January. That was the first session of the year. Pharmacology is given online, and pharmacology is basically set up very similar to patho. So those of you who have taken patho, you guys know what that's like, taking that. It's pretty much the same thing. When I took pharmacology the first time, so this is actually my second time taking pharmacology. The first time I took pharm, I had to drop it because I was going through some mental health issues. That was last year. Normally, pharmacology is usually taken with fundamentals, specifically fundamentals patient care. That's usually when people take pharm. That session last year was a really hard session for me on a mental level. It's not really related so much with school, but that time in my life was really rough last year. But I'm doing so much better now, and I'm doing really great. So that was the first time that I took pharm, and I had to drop it because pharm, especially in Chamberlain, pharm, it's a lot of content that they put onto you in pharmacology. And when I took pharmacology both times, they use EDAPs to get through the course. And in my opinion, compared to other courses, the EDAPs and pharm, I found them to be pretty easy. They're really not that bad at all. They go off of the book. So if you have the textbook and you get the textbook, going through the EDAPs can be very quickly. It's all the information is in the book. So what I would always do is when I was working through EDAPs, I would have the book in front of me. I would be in the same chapter that the EDAP is about, and I would just go through it. And like I said, the EDAPs for pharm are pretty straightforward. They're really not that bad at all. So yeah, it was mostly EDAPs is really how to go through them. And for pharmacology, the amount of EDAPs, there are definitely a lot. And what I recommend doing, and I recommend all of you guys to do this, is at the beginning of every week, email your professors and ask them how many modules there are in each unit. Because in every week, so this is how I explain this, and this is how it makes sense to me. Each week, you're gonna have different units, and within each unit, you're gonna have several EDAP modules to work through. Now, the thing with EDAPT is that you can't move forward until you finish each module and each unit individually, right? And so what I would do is at the beginning of the week, in order to plan out my week, I would send an email to the professor and say, hey, can you tell me how many modules are in each unit for the week? You know, thank you. And then the teacher would respond like, okay, in this unit, there are this many number of modules. In this unit, there are this many number, and this one, and so on and so forth. And so based on the number of modules in each unit for the week, I would basically plan out how many EDAPTs I was gonna do every day, and basically just plan out my week that way and just make sure that I organize my week. That's what I really recommend doing. And I really recommend doing that because for pharmacology, you don't want to procrastinate. You want to work on pharmacology every day. Pharmacology, typically, you know, maybe other classes you might be able to get away with procrastinating. I know I did. Like, I'm a procrastinator, I'm not gonna lie. But for pharmacology, you want to be organized as you possibly can. So that means like planning out your week. Like, what are you gonna do every day? You know, you're gonna plan out and how many modules you're gonna do every day, what assignments you're gonna do every day, all of that, and just getting through them. So as far as like studying in pharmacology, the EDAPTs are pretty helpful with studying. Like, the information in EDAPTs does pertain a lot to the information that you see on exams, at least for me. So EDAPT itself is a tool that you can use to study. But other things that I used, I actually really started watching Simple Nursing on YouTube. You can look up like Simple Nursing YouTube videos. And I actually had an experience where I was studying for an upcoming exam in pharmacology, and I watched a Simple Nursing YouTube video, and there was a question on the exam, and I remembered something that was mentioned in a Simple Nursing YouTube video. And so because of that, I knew the answer, and I knew the right answer, and it helped me a lot. So yeah, watching Simple Nursing is really good for studying pharm, because on like Simple Nursing YouTube videos, like they really break it down very easily, which is really helpful. Another thing that I used, these are Pharm Flash flashcards by Valerie I. Leak. She makes these flashcards for Patho as well, which I recommend. I did use these cards. These cards were pretty helpful for studying. When it comes to pharm, I would definitely say, like, and I've mentioned this in the past as well, it's about memorization, and you want to find ways to memorize information in different ways and like use different ways to study things. So like YouTube videos, your textbook, flashcards, like you want to find different mediums so that, you know, to study the content, if that makes sense. That helps a lot. When it comes to pharmacology exams, I felt like exams were pretty straightforward. In exams, I did feel like there were questions sometimes. There were questions that were like out of nowhere. Like there were questions that seemed to have come out of nowhere. The teacher for pharmacology, she gave out concept lists, and so I would study with the concept list, and I would go down and study everything on the concept list, and, you know, do everything like I just said, watch videos, use whatever tools I can find to study. For the most part, it was pretty straightforward. Occasionally there were some questions that were kind of like out of nowhere, but that was just my experience. But definitely, like when it comes to studying for pharm and like working on pharm, you know, spread it out. You know, like I said, you don't want to procrastinate. Like this is not a class you want to procrastinate in. You got to work on it a little bit every day. And so make sure you stay organized and plan out your whole week and do everything that you need to do. What else can I say about pharm? For pharmacology, on a more recent thing that I've kind of started doing is to study for pharm and really to study for any class. One thing that I do recommend is doing practice questions. Now, for those of you who are at Chamberlain, if you're at Chamberlain, you obviously should have access to ATI. And on ATI, I think every student, I'm pretty sure every student has access to a quiz bank. I know there's a quiz bank on ATI, and there's 2,000 questions on it that are NCLEX style questions. And there's different sections that you can select, and you can create custom adaptive quizzes. So another study tip that's really good is to practice with practice questions. And I know on ATI there is a section for pharmacology questions specifically. But you can also search for particular questions on ATI that you can use to study with. And you study with the questions and you read the rationales, and that is a great way to study. It's something that I started doing more recently. I haven't really done that in the past, but it's definitely a new method of studying that I feel is pretty effective, because at the end of the day, when you think about it, you're gonna be tested. You're gonna be asked questions, whether it's an exam or a quiz, whatever. You're gonna be questioned, and you have to be able to read a question and understand what it's asking you, and be able to give the right answer accordingly. So yeah, using practice questions wherever you can find them, whether it's on ATI or somewhere else. Practice questions can be a really, really great way to study for any class, but also for pharmacology, of course. For pharmacology, that's pretty much it. I don't really know what else to say. If you guys have any other questions, I can try to answer them as best as I can. But that's pretty much all I have for pharm. I didn't find it too bad taking it the second time. The second time that I took pharm, I knew what I was doing, and I just went through it. And so take my advice with what I've mentioned in pharmacology, and with that, you guys should be fine. So don't be worried and don't be scared of pharmacology. Now on to adult health, which I just got done taking last session, which was the March session. Adult health, honestly, adult health is also known as med-surg. And honestly, med-surg is always every time I've always heard people talk about med-surg, it's people always talk about it it's the worst thing, or it's the hardest class ever. It's the biggest class. And honestly, I think it really is the biggest class, because it's let me see. Yeah, adult health is 5 credits. It's worth 5 credits. So yeah, it's the biggest classes that you take at Chamberlain particularly. So it's the biggest class that you take. For adult health, you do 96 hours of clinical. So you have a clinical every single week in adult health. And yeah, it's a pretty big class. It's very loaded. We had lectures twice a week that are 3 hours long. For us, the lectures were virtual, but we would take exams on campus. So I don't know when my school, if you guys are on campus, let me know, because I know every campus does things differently. I know on my campus, some classes are in person, some are still virtual, but most classes are half and half, hybrid. At least that's kind of how it is for us. We have lectures online and we go in person for exams and stuff like that. But yeah, we would have 3-hour lectures. I liked my teacher. I thought she was pretty good. It was her first time teaching adult health. And I liked her. a lot. I really didn't have any issues with her. For adult health, the thing about adult health, and you know, I really didn't find adult health to be that bad. It is a lot of information and it's a lot of content, but I enjoyed learning it because med-surg is like the core of nursing. Like if you're becoming a nurse, you have to know med-surg. Med-surg is like the basic core of nursing. Like every nurse everywhere knows med-surg. If you know med-surg, then you're good. And the thing with med-surg is that med-surg is the combination of everything that you've already learned before. So, you know, it is a combination of health assessment, pharm, patho, fundamentals, all of that combined together, and you have med-surg. So with that being said, you know, for those of you who are going through nursing school, like if you really take the time to learn in all of your classes, when it comes to future courses like adult health, med-surg, whatever, then it will pretty much be easier. So it's very important to focus on learning, just focus on learning wherever you are, whatever class you're taking, just focus on learning as much as you can, because it will benefit you a lot later. That's definitely how I feel about med-surg and adult health. Adult health, like this is definitely the session where like you really start to feel like a nurse, because you really start to think critically, because you use all of the previous knowledge that you've learned and you apply it to where you are currently, which is, you know, adult health. So I really like that. And at the beginning of the session, when it comes to clinicals, are the first like 3 clinicals, and this is for our campus, this is not all campuses or anything. We were having issues with getting clearance to go to the hospital. So it was also kind of like the hospital's issue as well. So like the first 3 clinicals that we had were virtual, and like our confidence at the beginning was like kind of off, you know, like I just don't know how to describe it, but over time in clinicals and as we went through the course, our confidence really grew, and like our critical thinking skills really began to grow. And I noticed that in myself, and I also noticed that in my classmates, and that's like a really cool thing to experience. So yeah, that was really great. Adult health, what I would do, I would record lectures and play them back when I study. When it comes to playing, like recording lectures, like you can ask your professors to do that. And for me, I didn't ask my professor if I wanted to record or not. I think when it comes to recording lectures, you just make sure that you don't like post the lectures anywhere. Like you're not supposed to do that, because I think like that's like I don't know if it's like liability is the right word, but it's basically like you're just not allowed to record lectures and post them other places without the consent of the professor and the school. So you can't like share them anywhere. So yeah, for me, like I would record lectures for myself, and when I was studying, I would play them back and listen to the professor. And I feel like that really helped a lot, because we would have like 3-hour lectures, and 3 hours is a long time. And I really wish that we were like fully in person, because I really miss being in person. But yeah, 3 hours is a long time, and I would record lectures and play them back while I was studying and working through whatever assignments that I had to do for the class. In adult health, there's a group project, and there's like a part 1 and a part 2. You get a group project based off of like a disease process. So whichever one your group has, that's what y'all do. The group project was really not that bad. There are EDAPs that you do, and there's really not a lot of EDAPs to do. And once again, I really didn't find the EDAPs to be that hard to do. I felt like they were pretty straightforward. And you just work through them, and there's not that many of them in adult health, which is a good thing, you know, compared to other classes, which is a really good thing. So in this part of the video, for whatever reason, my camera did not save this whole section of the video, so here I am recording again. But anyways, in this part of the video, I wanted to talk about CMS. So CMS stands for Content Mastery Series. And so in this session, this is the first session that you do CMS. And so doing this for our first session, like a lot of us were confused. A lot of students were confused on what we had to do. So basically, in this session, starting in this session and moving on through the rest of the program, you will do a CMS for different courses in the course that you're in. So in Adult Health 1, we did CMS for fundamentals. Now, mind you, fundamentals, like I took fundamentals like sessions ago. So the CMS that we do basically helps us kind of like relearn and reassess our fundamentals knowledge. And so we take practice tests through ATI, and all of this CMS stuff is done through ATI. So we do a practice test on ATI. I think we do like 2 of them, and then we do the actual CMS exam in person for fundamentals. So definitely it's a good idea to like refresh and like study fundamentals content. I definitely recommend going into ATI and studying fundamentals, like practice questions on ATI. That I think that would definitely help to, you know, I think that would definitely help prepare for CMS. So once you do your CMS exams, I think your practice B test, so there's like a practice A and a practice B test that you do, I think like at home, and then you do your CMS exam. Well, for the practice B and for the CMS exam, what they will make you do is they'll make you set up a binder. So I would recommend for all of you guys, before you get to adult health, make sure you buy a 4-inch binder, and make sure you buy tabs. And so they're gonna ask you to do, based on the rubric, they want you to do 8 tabs, and they want you to label them according to the rubric. And so you will place your CMS remediation, and you will organize it into those tabs. So I'm gonna show you a little bit what that looks like. And so when you take your practice exams, or your practice exam and the actual CMS, you will print out like your results sheets. This is kind of what it looks like on ATI. So it gives you your score, and then it gives you like the sections that you did good or bad. And then it tells you here, these are all of the questions that you missed. Right here, all of these. So all of the questions that you missed, it basically breaks it down into sections and all of that. So for CMS remediation, based on the score that you get on your practice exam and also your CMS exam, you have to do a certain number of ALTs. So ALTs are basically like the templates that you do on ATI. So you download these templates. And so like this is like the basic concept template that you do. I did these on my iPad and then I printed them out. But it has to be like handwritten. But yeah, so for every question that you miss, it'll tell you what template to do. But like I said, depending on your score, you're gonna do however many it tells you to do based on your score. And so you will do, you know, these templates, which are called ALTs. you will do however many ALTs you need to do. So for me, based on my score, I had to do 8 of them. Now going back to the results page, based off of my results, like the way I showed you guys, like some sections I did better than others. So when it comes to like picking and choosing which ALTs I want to do based off of the questions I missed, I focused the ALTs on the sections that I did the worst in. That's kind of recommended that for you to do, but you don't have to. So you can pick and choose to do ALTs for whichever questions you missed. So for me, I did 8 of them, and so I picked and choose whichever ones I did. And so I would download the appropriate template that it tells you to do, and I would fill it out and work on it. And so I did 8 ALTs, and I organized them into the tabs. The rubric tells you how to label the tabs and how to organize your ALTs into the tabs. And so apart from the ALTs, you have to do your critical points. Now your critical points, you have to do them for every single question that you miss. And so there's a separate document that you print out, and right here basically shows you, so like I numbered the critical points. So this is like question 1, 2, 3. These are the questions that I missed from the results page document from ATI. And so you basically label what the question that you missed is and like what section it is on the exam. And then you have to write like 3 points for each one. And you do that for every question that you missed. And I think this document only comes with like 9 questions you can do. So you have to print out enough of these to be able to do all of your critical points. And you have to write all of them. And actually on ATI, if you click on your exam, you click on focused review in the improve section on ATI. You click on your exam and you click on focused review, and you can find information. ATI will basically give you where to find the information for you to fill out your templates, your ALTs, and information to fill out for your critical points. So ATI will basically help you put together your ALTs and your critical points. And that's a really great thing about ATI. And so doing that through ATI will help you do all of this a lot easier and a lot quicker. And I highly recommend doing that. So for the binder, if you do everything right, if you organize your binder, you know, the tabs the way you're supposed to, and the critical points the way you're supposed to, you do your ALTs, however many, this is like a pretty easy 50 points. You want to make sure that you give yourself time to do all of the ALTs and all the critical points, and make sure you really like carve out that time every day to do it until it's due. Because professors, you will drop off your binder and professors will grade your binder on how well you organized it, how well, you know, you did everything that you were supposed to do. And like I said, that's an easy 50 points. So we had to do a practice exam and the actual CMS, and I got full 50 points for both because I organized it very well according to the rubric. I hope I explained this as best as I could, because for whatever reason, like half of our class like was super confused on how to put together the binder. Even though the teacher explained it, even though it's in the rubric. So like, even though the teacher explained it so many times and like it's in the rubric, whatever, some people were still very confused on how to put together the binder and how to do all of the CMS stuff. But it's honestly really not that bad. Now, this is our first session doing this. So yes, like a lot of us were confused the first time we had to do this. But once you get the hang of it, it's pretty straightforward. And like I said, you have to make sure you carve out time to do this. This is not something that you want to like wait until the last minute to do. And if you have questions, make sure you ask your professors on how to do it, how to put it together. And also, it's a really great idea if you can find like upperclassmen, like seniors or any students that are up ahead. It's a really good idea to ask them about like how to do this if you are confused, and see how they put together their binders. But yeah, like I said, it's like 50 points, like it's 100 points total, like doing the binder assignments, like the remediation, the CMS remediation for your CMS exam. So yeah, so overall, like before you take the CMS for fundamentals, it is a good idea definitely to like study fundamentals like apart from, you know, adult health stuff that you're doing. So like I said, you have to make sure you organize your time and that you're taking time to do this when it comes time to do this, and take time to do all your other adult health stuff, assignments and studying and everything else. So that's pretty much it for this video. I don't know what else to say. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. If you guys liked it, please give it a thumbs up. If you guys have any questions, please let me know in the comments. You can go ahead and follow me on Instagram, and you can reach out to me on Instagram if you want to. You guys can also send me an email if you want to, and I'll be happy to help you guys as much as I can. That's pretty much it for this video, so I will see you guys next time.